So I guess I'll start from the beginning, or at least where the cracks started showing. I'm 38M, and I've been married to my wife, Jenna, 35F, for 9 years. We met in grad school. I was studying physics. Yes, I know, big Einstein fan. He's kind of been my North Star, and she was in communications. She always had this presence, you know? Like a spotlight followed her around. People listened when she spoke. I was more of a sit in the corner, let me finish my equation type. So I was surprised when she showed interest in me. But we worked. For a while, at least. We have 2 kids, ages 7 and 5. I work as a research scientist now, and Jenna works from home, doing PR consulting for some tech startups. Or at least that's what she told me. I should have known something was wrong when she started getting really obsessed with her phone. Like, she used to rag on me for checking my email during dinner. Now, she was texting like her life depended on it. Always flipping her phone upside down when I walked in the room. Then came the girls' nights. First once a month. Then every week. Then sometimes twice a week. But every time I asked about it, she'd roll her eyes and say something like, "Oh my God, Albert, don't be so clingy. I need my time too." She had this way of making me feel guilty for even asking. I kept brushing it off. I told myself I was just overthinking, maybe even a little insecure. She was attractive, witty, magnetic. Me? I was a guy who quoted Einstein in arguments and once took 3 weeks to fix a leaky faucet because I over-researched water pressure dynamics. But one night, and I'll get to that later, everything just exploded. Anyway, I'm writing this now because I'm tired of feeling like the dumbest smart person in the room. I know this story's going to get a hell of a lot messier, so if you're in for the ride, part 2 is where the real unraveling starts. And trust me, it's not pretty. Okay, so here's where things started to spiral. It was a Wednesday, I remember, because I'd just come home early from work to surprise Jenna with lunch. The lab was closed for equipment maintenance, and I figured, why not pick up her favorite Thai and spend a little time together? She wasn't in the kitchen when I walked in. I heard her upstairs, laughing, not in a regular way, but that kind of giggle she used to reserve for me when we first started dating. It hit me wrong. I didn't think much of it until I saw her laptop open on the counter. And no, I wasn't snooping. It dinged. An email notification popped up, and I swear to God, it was like fate wanted me to see it. Subject line: last night was everything. When can we do it again? Winking face. I froze. The sender? Some guy named Chris L. Now here's the kicker. I clicked on it. Not proud of it, but I did. And holy hell, I wish I hadn't. They'd been emailing for months. It wasn't just some one-night thing. There were hotel reservations, photos, inside jokes, and one that stung the worst, her calling him Einstein as a joke. Like she was mocking me. He wrote stuff like, "I wish you didn't have to sneak around so much," and "Does your husband suspect anything?" Her response? LOL, no. He's sweet, but clueless. Always has his head in his formulas. I felt like I got punched in the chest. I just stood there for a few minutes, staring at the screen while my wife, the woman I cooked for, parented with, trusted, laughed upstairs, probably texting this Chris guy. I felt sick. The smell of Thai food made my stomach turn. When she finally came down, I didn't say anything. Not yet. I just watched her. Watched how easily she smiled at me, kissed me on the cheek, acted like nothing was wrong. I smiled back. I even handed her the food. But inside, I was building a mental equation. All the variables were there. The time away. The lies. The sudden new lingerie I never saw. The phone obsession. The emotional distance. And that goddamn email. I knew I had to be smart. Patient. Calculated. Einstein once said, "The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results." Well, I was done being insane. I didn't sleep that night. Not really. I just lay there beside her in the dark, staring at the ceiling while she breathed peacefully, like nothing was wrong, like she wasn't stabbing me in the back with every inhale. I kept hearing that damn line in my head. LOL, no. He's sweet, but clueless. That burned. Now look, I'm not the confrontational type. I'm not gonna flip tables or scream in public. But I am methodical. I believe in proof. In data. In undeniable facts. So I started collecting. First thing I did was buy a cheap prepaid phone. I created a fake email account, and then used it to sign up for one of those free trial background check services. Yeah, I went full spy mode. I looked up this Chris L. Found him. Mid-40s, divorced, worked in sales for a software company. Sleazy-looking LinkedIn photo, hair gel, and a forced smirk. Exactly the type she used to say made her ick. Then, I checked her phone back up on the cloud. She was careless. Still had automatic backups linked to our shared account. That gave me access to everything: messages, call logs, photos. I didn't even have to crack her phone. I found text after text. Messages like, Chris, you smell like peaches and sin. Jenna, stop face with years of joy, you're bad. I love it. Nauseated face. I started screenshotting everything. I made a folder on a USB drive labeled Einstein's Theory of Infidelity. Petty? Maybe. But I needed to stay grounded, or I'd lose it. I even installed a small motion-detecting recorder in the kitchen, the place she always took calls when she thought I wasn't home. And sure enough, a few nights later, it paid off. I caught her whispering, "Yeah, no, he's at the lab. Totally clueless. We can meet Saturday." She laughed at the end. Like this was a rom-com and I was the dumb husband who existed just to pay for her lifestyle while she played adult dress-up with another man. So I made a plan. Saturday, I wouldn't be at the lab. Saturday, I'd follow her. It wasn't about revenge. It was about clarity. I needed to see it for myself. And oh boy, what I saw. That broke me. So Saturday rolls around. I told Jenna I had to go into the lab for a project deadline. She barely looked up from her phone, just said, "Okay, babe. Good luck." Kissed me on the cheek like I didn't know where that mouth had been. She left about an hour after I did. Dressed up, heels, makeup, perfume, way too much effort for someone supposedly grabbing brunch with Tanya and the girls. I parked a few blocks away and followed her. Not proud of it, but again, clarity. I needed to see the truth. She drove to a hotel. Not a fancy one. Just one of those places off the highway with tinted windows and a complimentary breakfast sign that looks like it hasn't been cleaned since 1994. She parked. Walked in. 10 minutes later, he showed up. And that was the moment I knew. My chest went tight. It's one thing to read the messages, hear the whispers. It's another to see it. With your own eyes. The way she smiled when he touched her arm. The way they didn't even hesitate. He handed something to the clerk at the front desk. Key card. Room number. I sat in my car, staring at the entrance. My hands were shaking. I wasn't angry in the way people assume. It was more like a wave of grief crashed into me and dragged me under. Like watching a version of my life collapse through the glass. I had two choices: storm in, scream, cause a scene that would probably get me arrested, or keep watching. Waiting. Documenting. I chose the second. About 2 hours later, they came out. Laughing. Her lipstick was smeared. His shirt was half-tucked. And she had that look, like she'd just done something thrilling and got away with it. Spoiler, she didn't. I took pictures. Not for revenge. For proof. For the divorce lawyer I hadn't even called yet. For myself, really. Because part of me still didn't want to believe it was real. But there it was. My wife was a liar. A cheat. And apparently pretty damn good at it. Until she wasn't. I drove home ahead of her. Made it in before she did. Pretended I was just tired from the lab. She came in around dinner time, tossed her bag on the couch, gave me a kiss like she hadn't just spent the afternoon in bed with another man. And I just stared at her. She didn't flinch. That scared me more than anything. I didn't say anything that night. Or the next day. I waited. I wasn't trying to be dramatic. I just wanted to be ready. Emotionally. Mentally. Logically. I kept telling myself, don't react like a man who's been betrayed. React like a man who knows the truth. So on Monday, I made breakfast. Same as usual. Coffee, eggs, toast. Jenna came downstairs, yawning like a sitcom wife. Hair in a bun. My hoodie on. She kissed me on the neck and said, "You're sweet." I don't deserve you. I just smiled and said, "Yeah, I've been thinking the same thing lately." Her brow twitched a little. But she played it cool. She always played it cool. Later that evening, I printed everything. The emails, the texts, the photos, the hotel confirmation, the audio transcript from the kitchen recorder, even the goddamn Einstein joke. I laid it all out on the dining table. When she walked in from her Pilates class, which I now know was just another lie, she saw it all sitting there like a murder board. She stopped cold. I scanned the table. Then me. "What is this?" she said, voice flat. "You tell me," I replied. "You're the one who's been doing all the math behind my back." And for the first time, I saw her crack. She went pale. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Then she tried the classic route, denial. "This isn't what it looks like. You're overreacting. You probably don't understand the context." I cut her off. Context? Jenna, you literally had sex with another man in a red roof in off I-95 while I thought you were at brunch with Tanya. Her face twisted, like I was the problem now. Then came the tears. Right on cue. Crocodile mode. Activated. I messed up. I was lonely. You're always so obsessed with work and formulas and your stupid equations. Don't, I said. Don't turn this into my fault. She dropped into a chair and covered her face like she was the victim here. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she sobbed. It just happened. Chris was just someone who listened, who made me feel seen. Yeah, I said. Probably because you were naked. That one hit. She flinched. And then, just like that, the mask slipped. Her voice turned sharp. So what now, Albert? You gonna ruin our lives over a mistake? You want to throw everything away because I needed something you didn't give me? That was the moment I knew we were done. Not because of the cheating, but because she genuinely believed she was entitled to it. After that, silence. She didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. We just sat there, in the kitchen, surrounded by printed-out evidence of everything she tried to keep buried. The air was thick, not with anger, but something worse, disgust. She poured herself a glass of wine, like she needed to calm her nerves. Then she had the audacity to say, "We can fix this. If you just stop acting like some bitter little man with a calculator." I laughed. Actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane. This bitter little man, I said, was working overtime so we could pay off your credit card debt. So we could maybe take a trip for once. So you could go to Pilates class and pretend you had a hard day. She slammed the wine glass on the table. Oh, so now I'm a gold digger too? No, I said. You're a cheater. A liar. And apparently really good at role-playing as a devoted wife. That's when the real breakdown began, hers, not mine. She started pacing, rambling, her voice rising. You don't get it. I'm not some evil villain, okay? I was lonely. You were always in your lab, or on your laptop. We're talking about some theory of time dilation like that mattered more than me. You think Einstein's wife cheated on him because he was too into physics? I shot back. She blinked. That landed. You think I don't get lonely too? I said. You think I haven't fantasized about someone who actually listens, who doesn't lie through her teeth, who doesn't mock my work behind my back? She looked stunned, like she'd never even considered that I had feelings too. And then, the kicker. She whispered, so is this it? You're leaving. I don't know yet, I said. But here's what I do know. I'm done living in a lie. And I'm done protecting someone who wouldn't even hesitate to throw me under a bus to justify her affair. She started crying again, this time the ugly kind. Makeup running. Breath hitching. I almost felt sorry for her, almost. But I'd been feeling sorry for myself for way too long. So after the meltdown, she stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door like I had wronged her. The irony was so thick I could have choked on it. She slept in the guest room that night. I stayed up. Not because I was paranoid anymore, I already knew. But because I was done being passive, done accepting half-truths and fake tears. The next morning, I noticed her iPad on the coffee table. Still logged in. Still open. And curiosity? That beast came roaring back. I tapped into her iMessage app. Same Apple ID. What I saw. It was worse than the hotel. Worse than the texts. Because this wasn't just about sex anymore. It was contempt. She'd been mocking me. There were messages with her friends, not just Chris, but her inner circle, where she talked about me like I was some clueless nerd. Screenshots of our private texts, captioned, LOL, he's trying so hard, loudly crying face. One friend even said, girl, you're gonna ride that Einstein money till he figures out E equals MC dumbass. She replied, he's too busy solving the universe to notice I'm screwing a guy who sells vape pens. I stopped reading. I physically couldn't. I set the iPad down like it had burned me. It's one thing to cheat. It's another to dehumanize someone. She didn't just betray me, she mocked the fact that I still loved her. That I tried. That I stayed loyal while she laughed behind my back like I was some pathetic science project she got stuck with. That's when the anger hit. Not rage, clarity. Cold, sharp, surgical. I wasn't going to yell anymore. I was going to end it, with precision. No drama. No begging. Just clean exit. Because when someone shows you who they are, you believe them. I didn't tell her right away. I kept it quiet. Calm. Civil. I let her think I was still processing. Let her walk around in her robe, sipping oat milk lattes and texting Chris in the bathroom like she was untouchable. Meanwhile, I was in touch with a lawyer. And not just any lawyer, a divorce lawyer who specialized in high-conflict cases involving infidelity. One of those terrifyingly calm types who asks for receipts and screenshots like he's collecting evidence for a war crimes tribunal. I gave him everything. Emails, audio files, the iPad screenshots, hotel confirmations, text logs. I even had a spreadsheet organized by date and category. I'm a numbers guy, might as well weaponize it. He read through it and said, "This is about as open and shut as it gets." We drafted the papers, and then I waited for the right moment. That Friday, Jenna asked if we could talk. She had this gentle voice on, the kind she used when she wanted to manipulate the outcome of something without raising suspicion. She sat across from me on the couch, legs tucked under her, like she was still the same woman I married. "I know things got intense the other night," she said, "but I've been thinking, maybe we could try therapy. I don't want to lose what we have." I smiled, nodded. "I've been thinking too." Then I handed her the envelope. She looked confused. "What's this?" "Divorce papers." Boom. She blinked a few times, then opened the envelope like it was a prank. "Wait, you're serious?" "Dead serious." Her whole face changed. Instantly, all the softness evaporated. "You're really just gonna throw away a decade together because I made one mistake?" "One," I said calmly. "You made one choice. Then you made another. Then you lied about both. Then you laughed about it with your friends. Then you mocked me for not knowing. This isn't about one mistake. This is about who you are." She stood up, pacing now. "You don't have to do this. We can fix it. We're not like those other couples." "We're worse, Jenna," I said, because I thought we were real. And for the first time, she was speechless. Not crying, not angry, just stunned. Because she never expected me to grow a spine. She never thought the nerd would walk away from the pretty liar with the perfect Instagram life. But I did, and it felt powerful. So, after the papers were served and she realized I wasn't bluffing, she went full PR mode. Suddenly, I was the cold-hearted robot who gave up on love. She started curating this tragic narrative for everyone who would listen, her friends, her mom, even mutuals at my job. She just wanted to feel appreciated. He was never present. He's always been emotionally unavailable. You know, the usual soft-focus victim script. But here's the thing, not everyone bought it. In fact, a few of her so-called ride-or-die girlfriends, they reached out to me. One of them, I'll call her Mia, sent me a DM on Instagram. "Hey, I know this is weird, but I just want to say I'm sorry for everything Jenna did. You didn't deserve it. We tried to tell her she was crossing a line months ago. She just didn't care." Another, a mutual friend we used to host game nights with, called me. "Albert, listen, I kept quiet because I didn't want to get involved, but I feel sick about it." She wasn't just seeing Chris. There were others. Guys she met during those yoga retreats and random DMs. She thought it was funny. Said you'd never notice because you were busy being Einstein. Her words. My stomach dropped. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was a campaign. A full-on, behind-my-back parade of disrespect. I remember just sitting in my car in the work parking lot after that call, staring at the dash, wondering, how many people knew? How many smiled at me while hiding this? And worse, how little did she actually think of me? It's one thing to be cheated on. It's another to realize you were entertainment in your own relationship. A punchline. A beta placeholder while she lived her secret hot girl life. That day, I stopped mourning the marriage. Because you don't grieve a fire after realizing it was gasoline from the start. After the shock wore off, after the sadness, the guilt, the second-guessing, the gut punches from every new, "Oh, and by the way, she also did this," revelation, I got quiet. Not depressed quiet. Focused quiet. I went into what I now call reinvention mode. No more playing the victim. No more checking her socials, she blocked me anyway. No more wondering why she did it, or who knew what, or how I didn't catch on sooner. Screw that. I took all the rage, the humiliation, the burn, and I used it like jet fuel. First, I hit the gym. Yeah, I know, cliché. But when your body's been running on cortisol and vending machine snacks, lifting something heavy reminds you you're still alive. I lost 20 pounds of stress weight and built shoulders I hadn't seen since college. Then I cut my hair. Bought clothes that actually fit. Threw out every hoodie that smelled like our couch. But the real glow-up? My brain. I started teaching again. Not for the money, but because mentoring makes me feel human. I built an online course. I launched a YouTube channel about physics and problem solving. I called it Relatively Speaking. Yeah, a little nod to my namesake. And it blew up. Apparently people like when a heartbroken, pissed-off Einstein lookalike breaks down quantum theory while dropping wisdom like don't trust a girl who says she needs space but keeps her DMs wide open. Sponsors rolled in. Interviews. Even a TEDx talk. The more I focused on rebuilding me, the more the world seemed to open up again. People saw me. I saw me. Not the guy who got played. Not the cuckold in cardigans. But a man with fire, humor, scars, and a damn good story. So, picture this. A few months into my glow up, when I'm finally feeling like myself again, stronger, smarter, and way less naive. Who do you think slides back into my DMs? Yep, Jenna, the queen of lies and betrayal herself. Her message? Classic passive-aggressive. Hey Albert, I've been thinking, maybe we rush things. Can we talk? I miss what we had. I stared at that screen for a good 5 minutes. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Do I tell her off? Do I ignore? Do I block and move on? Instead, I did something I never thought I'd do. I replied, "What exactly do you miss?" Her reply came fast. "Us. The good times. You before this whole mess happened." I chuckled. Hard. Funny thing about good times, you don't get to pick and choose the parts you want to remember. You wrote the ending. Then, without a hint of bitterness, I told her I was done with her chapter of my life. I wished her well and deleted the conversation. It felt liberating. For the first time, I wasn't the desperate guy begging for scraps of love. I was the guy who knew his worth, who had rebuilt from the ashes, who owned his story and didn't need her validation anymore. And honestly, that's when I really started to heal. So, while all this drama was swirling around, something totally unexpected happened. Remember Mia? One of Jenna's friends who had messaged me earlier? Yeah, the one who admitted they tried to warn me. She reached out again, but this time, not to gossip or stir the pot. She said, "Albert, you're stronger than you think. Don't let her poison your story. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here." I was skeptical at first. After all, she was part of that world, right? But something about her tone felt genuine. We started talking, really talking. No judgment, no hidden agenda, just two people who'd seen the same mess from different sides. She became my sounding board, my unexpected ally. We'd chat about life, betrayal, even laugh about Jenna's ridiculous antics. Her friendship was like a balm to the wounds I didn't even know were still open. And it reminded me of something important. Sometimes, the people you least expect can help you heal the most. After everything, the lies, the betrayal, the public humiliation, I honestly thought I'd never trust anyone again. Trust felt like this fragile, impossible thing that shattered the second I reached for it. But Mia showed me something different. She wasn't perfect, and neither was I. We both carried scars from the past, but we talked through them instead of hiding them. Slowly, I let my guard down. I started believing that not everyone was out to hurt me, that some people actually meant what they said. It wasn't instant. It was messy. There were days I wanted to shut the world out, days I wondered if I was fooling myself. But trust isn't about never getting hurt. It's about deciding that some people are worth the risk. I started opening up again, to friends, to new connections, even to myself. And that made all the difference. Here's what hit me hardest through all this chaos. Life isn't some neat formula you can solve with a few steps. But if I had to boil down what saved me, what Einstein himself might have called a formula for success and sanity, it'd look like this. Self-awareness plus boundaries plus reinvention equals freedom. I had to see what was really going on, no rose-colored glasses. Jenna wasn't the loving partner I thought. She was toxic and dishonest. Then, I had to draw the line. No more excuses, no more, maybe next time. I learned to say no, to her, to drama, to emotional manipulation. And finally, I reinvented myself. Not to win her back or prove her wrong, but to reclaim my own story, my own life. It wasn't easy. It wasn't fast. But it was worth every hard moment. Here's the truth I wish someone told me before all this hell. You can't change someone who's already chosen their own path. And trying to force it only breaks you more. If you find yourself stuck in a relationship where lies are the foundation, remember, it's not your fault. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're human. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't make excuses for people who consistently disrespect your heart. And when the betrayal hits, yeah, it'll hurt like hell. You'll feel lost, angry, confused, maybe even stupid. That's okay. Let yourself feel it all. But then, pick yourself up. Surround yourself with people who see your worth. Build a life that's about you again. Find purpose, whether it's work, a hobby, or new friendships. And above all, trust yourself. Because the best revenge? Living well, living honestly, and living free. If you've been through something like this or are stuck right now, know you're not alone. Feel free to DM me anytime. Albert out.